Yo, bro, it is Vince Russo, and you are listening to the great Metal Ed, the greater Johnny O. This is the Double Axe Handle Smash podcast. Bro, coming at you.
You're listening to Double Axe Handle Smash podcast with your hosts, two guys you've never heard of. And now, the man who feels like he just got hit by a Mack truck, Johnny O. And the man who chose to social distance himself, Metal Ed.
Welcome, everyone, to Double Axe Handle Smash podcast. Once again, I am Metal Ed, and with me from a distance,
I am Johnny O.
Yeah, he's lethargic. Him no feel good.
Yeah, a little under the weather. Sorry, guys.
Well, aren't we all under the weather, technically? The weather is above us, right?
Yeah, you're right. Technically, yeah, I just don't feel good, man. I woke up this morning and I was just not feeling well. Stomach hurt and all that stuff, but here I am recording this for you. Yeah, do the Ferris Bueller thing.
So, John,
yeah.
I don't know. What are we going to talk about to start the show?
Well, we can talk about some changes that I'd like to make to the podcast, and we can discuss them. I figured the show is called Double Axe Handle Smash. I really would love the support of all the people, and I'm really happy for all the people that we have. We definitely need more support. We definitely need more listeners and followers. So I propose, and maybe we can put it to a vote. Maybe people can send us some messages or emails, doubleaxehandlesmash@gmail.com. But I'm kind of wondering what's missing here. Maybe we should interview other people, not just wrestlers. Maybe some UFC or MMA guys. Maybe some other interesting people in the world. And I'm gonna still propose we still keep it as a mostly wrestling show and have mostly wrestling interviews, but from time to time, I'd like to branch out and do a little other stuff on here. What say you, Metal Ed?
I don't know. It seems to be hard enough to pinpoint and track down wrestlers.
Yeah, I see your point.
Not trying to procure them and stuff is sometimes, it could be a little tedious. Sometimes you get a bunch of no's and finally get a yes. So we'll see what the future brings. Speaking of what the future brought, the future of WCW is decided by our next guest.
That is rumor and innuendo, if I do have to say, because I don't think he destroyed WCW. Everyone says...
I never said that he did.
I know, but a lot of people do. A lot of people
think the future was decided by him when he got there, for the most part. He, as you'll hear in our interview, he didn't have full creative control. He actually didn't come over and take over Bischoff's position, right? He only came in just to be the head writer. He did put himself on TV, but Eric Bischoff was the executive producer. He was the head honcho. He was the Vince McMahon. Vince Russo was just the Bruce Pritchard.
The first time Bischoff was already gone, WCW got rid of him, and then he sat at home collecting some money, and WCW was still doing very poorly, so they brought him back. That was when they worked together.
So I thought it was an interesting interview. We took a little bit of a different approach to this one. We didn't really go in chronological order per se. We asked questions, he answered. We had some fan questions from the old school WWF wrestling page from Facebook and the 413 Pro Wrestling Debate Group. We had some fan questions there.
We had a few from Cult of Cornette Facebook page as well.
We had some from Cult of Cornette. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, I listened to a lot of Jim Cornette. Very knowledgeable about the business.
I know. After about the 1,000th time of him bitching about Vince Russo, I shut him off. I mean, there's only so many things you can blame Vince Russo for.
Hey, we even asked Vince Russo about Jim Cornette and about what it would take to get them together on a show. And wait till you hear that. Yeah.
Yep, stay tuned for that.
We talk about David Arquette. We talk about a lot of things in here.
It's going to be a fun interview.
Very fun interview.
But before we start, you can follow us on Twitter at DAH_smash. And if you follow us and give us a like, we'll give you a follow back. We're on Facebook at Double Axe Handle Smash. You can go to the website, dahsmash.com. We're on all your favorite providers. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. We're on iHeartRadio. We are on Google Podcasts. We're on Stitcher. We're on Deezer if you're listening abroad. Anywhere, mostly, that you can get your favorite podcast, you can find us. Double Axe Handle Smash Podcast.
Stay tuned for the end of the show, and we are going to reveal our next guest. But first, we're going to go to Mr. Would you like to do the honors?
Ladies and gentlemen, Vince Russo. Well, right out of the gate, Vince, I want to ask you my first question, which I believe is the most important of all. Are you with me? Are you a Jets fan, or do you like them Giants?
I am a Giants fan, bro. I am a Giants fan. Grew up a Giant. I go back to Fran Tarkenton, baby.
All right. What about the Yankees? We on the same page there?
We are not, because my father grew up on the New York Giants at the Polo Grounds, and when they made the move to San Francisco, he stayed loyal. So I grew up an avid Giants fan.
All right.
Wow.
Well, that's what we call loyalty. Many people don't know that.
Yes. Yeah, my father's 90 years old and was just me and him were just going through the agony of the Dodger series.
So he could be regarded as one of the most controversial figures in wrestling. Some hate him, some love him. But if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't know who Stone Cold Steve Austin or D-Generation X is as you know them.
He also said bro way before Matt Riddle.
The writer of the Attitude Era. He is Vince Russo. Welcome, Vince.
What is up, Metal Ed and Johnny O? And listen, man, every time you talk about bro, like I always say, and I've always said this, I really bow down to DDP as the bro icon. I think DDP was broing long before I was. I don't do it intentionally, bro. It's just a really bad habit. And I may have picked it up from DDP when I was working with him over there at WCW.
Yeah, so I was listening to another interview. I think it was with Chris Van Vliet, or I don't know how to say his name, but he was, I was listening to you and he was asking about the bro thing and you just picked it up. You didn't used to always say it, did you?
No, man, I don't. I no. And like I said, I don't know. Maybe it was being around Paige. I don't know, bro. I don't know where it came from. I swear to you, I don't purposely do it. Like it's just kind of part of my vernacular, man. And I know I say it a lot, but it's just a bad habit, man.
I love it. So we didn't want to overly talk about stuff that has been already said in interviews in the past. Like we didn't want to go right wicked into the Owen Hart thing anymore. And, everybody's already heard for the past 24 years. They've heard everything from you, So some of these things I just still want to touch on a little bit, but then we're trying to ask maybe something different or something, go to a place where people don't usually ask you as much, maybe some of these questions. So let's begin with your opinion. What is the greatest storyline or character you've ever created or co-created with Vince McMahon?
Well, no storylines or characters were created with Vince McMahon. I'll tell you, the favorite storyline was Rock joining the corporation, which Vince McMahon had nothing to do with. That was me and Ed Ferrara. We mapped the whole thing out for months, and I think that was a masterpiece. The way television is written today, I don't think you'll ever see a storyline like that again, because we wrote that over several months. There was a lot of planning involved. As far as character, I will say this. Vince McMahon developed the Goldust character. He had the name, he had the look, but when he presented it to me, I don't think he really had the character. And I don't want to take credit for that either. I mean, but that is something that, myself and Dustin, I think, had a lot more input into than Vince really had. Dustin was phenomenal in that role. I don't think anybody else could have pulled that character off. So I was lucky enough to get to work with Dustin very closely. That was one of my favorite characters.
Now, do you come up with the ideas and characters on the fly, or do you have to get to know the wrestler and need time, write out a plan, like you said?
Definitely, bro. I have to meet with the wrestler. I've got to talk to the wrestler. I've got to get in his brain and understand his psyche and what makes him tick and what's important to him and what pisses him off. So definitely I have to sit down and have conversations.
We usually go in order of someone's career. That's how we usually conduct these. But this is the first time that we're just going to ask random questions and just,
Off the cuff.
So who was your favorite wrestlers to work with?
Oh man, I really, really loved working with Kurt. I love Kurt Angle, man. And I didn't work with him till TNA. And man, he was just the ultimate professional. I loved working with him. I really loved working with Mick, because the creative box with Mick was just endless. Bro, I'll be honest with you. Like I really enjoyed working with many of the people I work with. There were really a few where it was difficult, but like Kurt and Mick, they really come to mind first and foremost.
Did you basically call for or want Cactus Jack to appear in WWE before Vince ever wanted to see him in WWE? Like, I know we got Cactus Jack finally in Madison Square Garden, but did you pitch that like way before and say, hey, how about we do Cactus Jack?
I don't think I really did, bro, because I think it was fitting that we were at the Garden, and, bro, I'm a Long Island guy, Mick's a Long Island guy. So like I was well aware of the Cactus Jack history. So I think it was more that, we were at the Garden in New York and it was just the right time.
Would you ever be on the same podcast with Jim Cornette? Like if someone did that.
Absolutely. No, bro. Absolutely.
Right.
I don't, bro. Listen, you got to understand something. I do not have an issue with Jim Cornette. Right. And this is Jim Cornette's war. And bro, the reality of it is I don't even know if it is a war. It's kind of shtick. And it's kind of like, bro, like a stand-up comic has a routine.
Yeah.
Vince Russo has become part of that routine. I do not have any animosity towards Jim. I do not hate Jim. And I have gone on the record many times saying I would do a podcast with Jim. Right. I would do a face-to-face with Jim. I would do it. I would do it for charity. I wouldn't want a penny. I offered to Jim that we do something and all the proceeds go to the Cauliflower Alley Club. Jim didn't want to do that. So everybody thinks there's this feud. Bro, there's no feud on my side. I mean, none whatsoever.
And I've noted that we've talked about it before. I said it is one-sided.
It is.
I'm not a very big Jim Cornette fan either. Somebody who acts like a big tough guy and then blocks you when you say something he doesn't like isn't really a tough guy to me. But one of my big issues with him is that he's still crying about the territory days. Every time he talks about two things. Wah territory, Vince Russo. Two things.
Well, bro, see, that's when you get to the territory days, bro, that was his problem. He was a very stubborn man and he did not want to change. And like, unfortunately, bro, like there were two instances at WWE and TNA where it came down to Vince Russo or Jim Cornette. And bro, I'll be honest with you. One of the big reasons Vince chose me and Dixie chose me was because I was a lot easier to work with. I wasn't stubborn. I was open-minded. I did not have the attitude that, if it wasn't my way, it was the wrong way. And that was part of, Jim's stubbornness, really hurt him a lot in the business. And he could blame me all he wants. Like, I really don't care anymore. But I can tell you, man, when it was Vince and Dixie and it came down to Jim or Vince was just a lot easier and more open to work with, man. That's the bottom line.
I've never really listened to his podcast until recently. So, but just almost every, like, I don't know, almost every show he takes a shot at you like once or twice.
Right.
It's like, is that necessary? I mean, a lot of people, and we'll talk about this later because I'm going to ask about the Montreal screw job thing, but a lot of people think that the Montreal screw job is a work. And do you think, I mean, any of this stuff with Jim Cornette is a work to him? Like, is he's working this?
Yes, bro. Bro, you know how, like, bro, he's got a fan base, and he's got a very rabid fan base.
Right.
Bro, if all of a sudden he went against that fan base and had a conversation with, it can happen. Like,
Right.
It could never happen. It would
They wouldn't let
kill
him.
his,
Yeah.
it would kill the gimmick. It would absolutely. So he will never, ever, bro, we've been offered money to do it. As I said, bro, I offered to give the money to charity. He'll never do it. So you got to understand the position it puts me in, because what's the point in me ever saying anything when I know the guy's never going to have a conversation with me? He's never going to go on a podcast with me. So what's the point? There's no point to it.
Yeah, so speaking of the Montreal screw job, as we watched Dark Side of the Ring, I actually watched it recently. There are still people, including Scott Hall, that think that was an absolute work. Was there any kind of work to it?
Bro, there was a zero work to it. And I'll be honest with you, man, I'm tired of trying to convince people over the years.
So you don't need to convince me.
Yeah, there were 3 people involved creatively, and it was me, Vince, and Jim at the time. That was it. That was creative, bro. And, I'll never forget the creative meeting leading up to that Sunday. Vince had a personal conversation on the phone with Brett. And Vince came to me and said, not Jim, Jim was there, but he kind of pulled me on the side. He goes, Vince, I'm about to have a conversation with Brett. I need you to be on the phone without him knowing it, to be a witness to the conversation. Mm-hmm. And I was witness to the conversation. And guys, I could tell you, Vince pitched everything to Brett to try to make a finish happen. Everything, bro. And Brett agreed to nothing. And the problem was, bro, it wasn't that Vince didn't trust Brett. Vince didn't trust Eric Bischoff. Right. And you got to remember, Alundra already showed up with the women's title on that show. And what Vince was concerned about was, bro, if Brett shows up with that title, if Bischoff can convince him of that, we're going to be a laughing stock.
No, so well, wait a second.
Go ahead.
He didn't have an issue with Flair bringing his title though in 1992.
I don't know, because I wasn't there, bro.
Okay,
I don't know.
Right.
So I can't speak for that. But I was there when Alundra did her business, and I was there when he was very concerned that Eric was going to coerce Brett into doing that.
I mean, I knew it was no work because you guys came to my hometown the next month for In Your House DX. And I saw Timmy White in the lobby of the Sheraton Hotel. And I said, Timmy, just give it to me straight as a person. Did Brett really go ham on Vince? He's, oh, yeah. He knocked him clean out. He knocked him clean out.
Were you there when Brett punched him?
No, I was not. I mean, I saw the after effect shortly thereafter, but I was not in the vicinity, no. I mean, Vince walked into that locker room to give Brett a free shot. I mean, that's why he did it.
Right.
He didn't, he wasn't caught by surprise. He had even said to Shane prior to going in, Shane, he gets one shot. Like, after that, you need to get involved. Meaning not hit Brett, but control Brett.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, Vince walked into that room to take his shot. No doubt about it.
All right. So we'll wrap this up because everybody is sick of talking about it. But here's something I don't think I've ever heard anybody ask you. All these years later, do you think it was the right call?
Absolutely. Because I had this conversation with Brett. And it was very, very hard because he was not agreeing with me and he didn't want to hear it. Bro, here's what I feel then, and I feel that way now. And bro, listen, I don't agree with Vince on a lot of things. I mean, I'll be honest with you. But bro, at the end of the day, Vince was looking to protect his company. Period. End of story. I was privy on the phone where he could not work something out with Brett. Nothing could be worked out. So at that point, Vince had to go into business for himself to protect his company. So yes, I do. And I love Brett. I love Brett to death. I'm a Brett guy. I'm a Sean guy. But I even said to Brett, I said, bro, you will never understand this. But I know that Vince did it to protect his company. It was never personal.
Do you get along with Brett now?
You know, bro, I love Brett, and I've always, not only have I always respected Brett, I've always put Brett on a pedestal. And, you know, bro, I'll always read about Brett taking shots at me. But, bro, I also have to understand that, like, sometimes taking shots at Vince Russo gets you over with a certain crowd.
Yeah.
So, like, I've got to understand that and take that into consideration because, bro, all the years we worked together at two companies, Brett and I never, ever had an issue working together.
All right. Well, let's real quick. We'll just touch upon the Owen Hart thing. So a lot of people over the years have blamed you, but I think it was very unfair. And as well as a lot of people think it was unfair to blame you, but there has been a lot of people that have blamed you, but not the actual death, but for writing the storyline or having the storyline for the Blue Blazer to be a character.
Bro, I never wrote that.
You never did.
And I've told the story a million times, but see, bro, when it's not people's narrative and when it's what they don't want to hear, they just rule it out. Bro, I'll tell you exactly what happened. And this is why, like, I hate to say this, bro, but I really believe in fate. I really believe that God knows the day that we're born and the day we're going to heaven, and there ain't nothing we're going to do about it. I really believe that. Bro, the show was written. This was probably the Thursday before the Sunday. The show was written. The show was done. And I was in my office late at night. It was probably about 6 o'clock. And I've got the format in front of me, bro, and I'm dotting the I's and I'm crossing the T's. Okay. I get a call from, I think it was Steve. Why am I forgetting his name? Steve Johnson. I can't even remember his name anymore, but I got a call from the person, Steve. I don't know why I want to say Johnson, but I'm forgetting. But anyway, he was the head of operations. Okay. He had been working with the WWE from day one. He was a life. Steve Taylor, he's a lifer. He was the director of operations. Bro, the show's written. He calls me in my office and he says to me, Vince, the guys who propel Sting for WCW are going to be at the show. They want to know if there is anything in the show where they would be able to show us what they could do for us. So I said, Steve, let me take a look at the show. So at that point, I went down the show and I saw Owen was on the show. So I basically said, you know what, Steve, Owen's on the show as the Blue Blazer. That would be a cool spot for the Blue Blazer if they repel him. So yeah, bro, if they wanted to do that for us, that probably would work. But my point is, bro, it was never originally written. It was never discussed. It wasn't important to the show. The only reason that happened is because I got that call from Steve Taylor that night. That's how it got put into the show.
Okay.
Do you think it was a good idea to keep the show going afterwards?
Bro, I don't think it was a good idea, bro. But again, I'm going to side with Vince on that part of it. Bro, nobody knows what to do in that spot. I mean, that night was so surreal, and it was like, this is not happening. And it was like,
it was very hard to watch at home.
Very hard. Yeah, bro. And bro, nobody, including Vince McMahon, is thinking rational at that point. Nobody.
Understood. And, I got kind of pissed at some of my friends who were like, not into wrestling. They're like, oh, it's just part of the show. I was like, no, they, panning the camera away, the look on Jerry Lawler's face
And Jim Ross.
And the way that Jim Ross said, Owen Hart has died. There was no
chills in my,
it was
bro. I've never watched it. Like I can't. I will never ever watch that. Being in that arena was enough. But bro, nobody that night was gonna make a rational decision.
Right. So Brian Pillman was one of my favorite wrestlers ever, and I adored the loose cannon character. So when he came in, were you watching WCW and ECW like before he even signed with WWE?
Not ECW, but I started watching WCW when they started the NWO. So like, right. I'm not sure what the timing is. I mean, I'd seen Flying Brian Pillman like in the Bengal truck. Like I had seen all that. I had not seen any of the ECW stuff.
But the loose cannon stuff when he was in the Horseman stuff, you saw some of that?
Oh, the stuff with Sullivan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that stuff. Yeah,
okay.
I saw that stuff.
So I remember when Pillman passed away, you wrote a very touching eulogy in the Raw magazine. And that right there, I didn't know who you were until, I knew who Vic Venom was, but I didn't know who Vince Russo was until Raw magazine came out and stuff like that. And, the dirt sheets would say something about Vince Russo and stuff. But that really resonated with me, what you wrote. And were you close with Brian?
Bro, I was not close with Brian, but I could tell you this, like, bro, prior to that, bro, this is a funny story, but it's the truth. And it goes to show, like, I wasn't really watching everything going on. I had no idea that Brian and Terry Runnels had a real relationship prior to what I wrote. I had no idea. Oh. So I produced a lot of those vignettes. So, bro, like literally there were many times I was driving a car and Brian was in the passenger seat. And, bro, the one thing that I remember that always stood out to me and I'll never forget was the physical pain he was in. Like, bro, literally going over a speed bump and him wincing. And I noticed it and I knew, and bro would never sell anything. And I realized, like, how in God's name is this guy doing any of this when I saw the absolute pain that he was in. And I'll never forget that, bro, because, I remember, like, bro, Taker was very similar. I can't tell you how many times Taker would be in agony with his back. In agony, bro. The trainer would be working on him. He'd go out, tear the house down, bro, come through that curtain and collapse. And that to me was how did these guys do that? Bro, I'm a big sissy Mary. Like when I got a splinter or something, it. Like, I hold nothing back. Bro, when I saw so many of these guys perform like hurt, and, bro, I know there's such a thing as adrenaline kicking in, but these guys did a lot of things in a lot of pain, and Pillman was one of those guys.
I think that's why it pissed a lot of people off when Sin Cara called a match off for jamming his finger.
Well, yeah, that would, bro. That would.
Seriously.
Well, look what Triple H did with the torn quad, and he's finished the match.
Oh, my God. Yeah. That guy, like, I respect Triple H. I'm never going to say I love the guy. I do like him a bit, but that was a pure beast move.
Yeah.
To be in the walls of Jericho.
Man. Absolutely.
With a torn quad. My goodness.
Absolutely. Yep.
Well, before we get into our next question, there is something I do want to address with all of our listeners. You may be asking yourself, how did two guys we've never heard of get a podcast out there so quickly? Well, I'll tell you, we use Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout gets your podcast listed on all major podcasting networks. You'll get a great looking podcast website, audio players that you can drop into other websites, detailed analytics to see how people are listening, tools to promote your episodes, and much, much more. I can tell you personally that John is not the most technologically inclined person. and he sent a lot of emails, and they sent a lot of replies. They helped us get our episodes out there. Their responses were quick and detailed and helped somebody like John, who doesn't know a website from a web browser, to get our podcast up and running.
I used to wrestle trash cans.
Join over 100,000 podcasters already using Buzzsprout to get their message out to the world now. And by the way, if you follow the link in our show notes, that lets Buzzsprout know that we sent you. It gets you a $20 Amazon gift card if you sign up for a paid plan, and it helps support our show. Podcasting isn't hard when you have the right partners. The team at Buzzsprout is passionate about helping you succeed, so let them. Go to www.buzzsprout.com to learn more.
Do you have any stories about Brian? Like anything like a rib story? Was he doing ribs then, or just too much pain? He wasn't.
I was never witness or privy to any of that, bro. Like the Brian I saw really kept to himself a lot and was very quiet and very, very low key. So, maybe he was going through a lot mentally during those times. And maybe, again, bro, like I said, I saw the pain and just maybe dealing with that. I never saw that other side of him.
Now, you said you had no clue about the relationship between Brian Pillman and Terry Runnels. Was that something that you had discussed beforehand? Did you actually have a talk with him about it?
No, because it was already done. Oh. Like I would have normally had that talk up front. I've had plenty of talks like that up front. I didn't know. I don't think I learned about it, bro, till the angle was over. Oh. Yeah. And I felt so bad about it because, bro, I know they both would have done it anyway. I know they would have done it because they're pros, but I would have asked, had I known. I just didn't know.
So Vince McMahon, in his infinite wisdom, decided to go really hard at Melanie Pillman the night after the pay-per-view. Did anybody know that was going to happen? And if so, did anybody try to tell him that was probably a bad idea?
Yeah, bro, I don't know, because I wasn't really in that inner circle at that time. I was kind of on the outskirts, kind of getting my way into creative. So I wasn't in the Vince inner circle at that time. I was never privy to those conversations. So I can't answer that. I don't know.
Now, before you were the head writer for Raw and stuff like that, were you at least backstage a lot and still?
Oh no, bro! Vince brought me through the ringer. I was the magazine writer. Mm-hmm. Then what I started doing, bro, was Vince had me write all the promos for all the boys for the house shows. Yeah, we're coming to the Spectrum and blah blah blah. I wrote for every single one of them. From there, bro, Vince had me write for, separate characters. That's where he let me, do the Goldust. Bro, when Shawn was champion, I was writing all Shawn's promos. So Vince kind of, held me by the hand and walked me through the process. I would go on a lot of vignettes with Pritchard, take her at the graveyard and all stuff like that. So I was really learning every aspect of writing before I was actually the head writer of Raw.
It was definitely an edgier product when you started writing, and maybe a little bit before that. Where do these ideas come from? The edginess and stuff like that. You think it was just time for a change?
Yeah, bro, just reality, man. I mean, it's come full circle. They're doing the same thing now. Yeah. We're at the same exact place.
Yep.
And back then, bro, in 1996, they were doing 1976 wrestling. And I just said to Vince, bro, we need to start mirroring society. This is phony, fake, horrible wrestling. And that's all we did, bro. We mirrored society. Bro, they're at the same place now. They got, they got a guy with a sword. They got a girl with a doll. They got a guy with birds coming out of their crotch. They're at the same freaking place, bro, where they need to make this based off of reality. This needs to be reality based so people believe it.
I was trying to have some wishful thinking here that maybe the reason why they downsized and got rid of all those guys, then they brought back all the goofy characters. I mean, look, you got a guy in NXT that is acting like the $1 Million Man or whatever, and it's like it looks like they're trying to go back to basics to maybe wait for the next wrestling boom and then come back out with all the reality stuff. Maybe, hopefully.
Bro, you make the boom happen. The
Right.
boom does not happen on its own. You've got to make the boom happen.
You remember in our interview with Alex Wright, I said it seems like they're just recycling, which is just what he said.
Yep.
They're recycling old gimmicks. They did it back when, remember, JBL had his cabinet. He had the black guy as his servant. The only difference was he brought in Jillian Hall. It was like the only difference.
Yep.
It's like recycled. That's why I have a hard time watching. It's really hard to watch.
I agree with you 100%.
It's probably hard to have an original idea in wrestling nowadays, though, right?
Bro, the way he's got that system set up, it will never work. I don't know how they got to 25 writers, whatever they have. Bro, this thing worked when me and Ed Ferrara wrote the show and brought it to Vince. It was that simple. There's not 20 people. There's not 30 people. We weren't ripping up scripts the day of the show. I have no idea, bro, how they went from A to Z, but the process they have right now is not working.
Just briefly, maybe we can just touch up on how you left WWE. I know it was a story about Vince wanted you to get a nanny for your kid or something like that. Can you just go briefly through that?
I mean, that's it, bro. Like I was, he added the SmackDown show without telling me and Ed. And bro, it wasn't a matter of like adding more work on our plate. It was a matter of Ed and I had great pride in what we wrote. And we were writing one live show every week, bro. And our blood, sweat, and tears were going into that show. And just like that, he was adding a second show. Never had a conversation with us, nothing. It's almost like, bro, he really didn't understand the writing process and what it really took, because we brought a finalized script to Vince. So how we got that finalized script there, he wasn't aware of that. So he added a second show, and I was like, bro, like the quality was really going to be watered down. And that bothered me. I don't want any of my work to be watered down. So I remember going into Vince, and bro, I was at a really low moment. I was burnt out. I wasn't seeing my family at all. I wasn't spending any time with them. And I basically, what I wanted to do was I wanted my wife to be able to move with my kids closer to her family so she'd be around family. And I remember telling this to Vince, and Vince looked at me and said, I don't know what the problem is. You make enough money now to hire a nanny to raise your kids. Bro, as soon as those words came out of his mouth, I was done. Like it was game. Oh, you just told me right there, you don't give one shit about me. You don't give one shit about, my family. And all you care about is your company. Bro, when those words came out of his mouth, I knew it was over.
And what's your relationship with Vince now? Like, have you ever talked? When's the last time you talked to him or any of the McMahon family?
Last time I talked to Vince was about 2002. I try to reach out to him, bro, just to kind of be a nice guy and see how he's doing. Mm-hmm. Never hear back from him. My last conversation with a McMahon was probably about 5 years ago. Shane was trying to bring me back because they were in the shitter then.
Yeah.
So Shane coached me on a letter that I needed to write to Vince and this, that, and the other thing. I said, okay, Shane, okay. So I wrote a letter. Shane went through the letter to make, he knows his dad better than anybody. Yeah. And Vince basically wrote me back and said there were no positions available. And I told that to Shane, and he could not. He thought I was ribbing. And I said, no, bro. So whatever, man, whether it's ego, I don't know what
you think there's people in the company that are preventing you from coming. Like,
absolutely.
Triple H like you?
Absolutely. No, bro. Listen, me and Triple H were very tight when I was there.
Yeah.
But bro, when I left, it comes down to power, man. Everybody wants power. And, Vince Russo being on creative, there's probably a lot of people they're not going to need. So absolutely, bro, they do everything in their power to keep that from happening. And that's fine with me, bro. Like, I don't care.
The other day I went to the store and I was trying to find the best seasoning for my steak. I love steak. Okay. And I cook that thing all year round on the grill. I mean, I cook more than just steak. I cook chicken and I cook fish and I, cook pork chops and all that other stuff. But I'm always trying to find rubs, spice blends to put on the meat.
Have you tried rubhouse.com?
Oh, no, I haven't.
Yeah, man. Their number 21 has won national state competitions with no MSG, no salt, all natural ingredients. I had the owner of rubhouse.com in a phone conversation the other day, and you should hear the passion in his voice when he talks about his love for spices. This guy goes out of his way to make sure that you're getting all natural and all organic product. I mean, like he said, imagining opening up a packet of seasoning that has no salt, no MSG, no sugar, just all natural goodness. Rubhouse.com. Get your rubs from there. Tell them Double Axe Handle Smash podcast sent you. Rubhouse.com. It's a proud sponsor of Double Axe Handle Smash podcast. Everyone seems to concentrate on your WCW run, how it didn't work out with you in control. I think you've been unfairly blamed for the demise of WCW. There were a lot of politics at Turner during your time, especially, I believe at one point they were letting Kevin Nash do the booking.
Well, what about Hulk Hogan going, that doesn't work for me, brother?
Yeah, the creative control card, which brings me to the real crux of this question is that creative control promo. How much of that was a work? How much of that was a shoot?
Well, bro, Hulk knew I was going to cut a promo on him, but bro, to be honest with you, I never scripted my promos. That's why I don't understand these performers today where they're scripting everything. Everybody's saying the same thing. And it comes across as so fake.
Word for word.
I never wrote my promos, bro. I would put myself in the moment. Before I would go out to the ring, I would say, okay, Vince, this is the story. This is what happened. This is the frame of mind you'd be in. And then I'd cut the promo. And that was the promo I cut at Bash at the Beach. Hulk knew I was going to cut a promo on him. We discussed it. I never said what I was going to say because I didn't know what I was going to say. I don't know what I'm going to say till I say it. So that's basically how that went down.
Didn't he sue you?
Yeah. And a judge laughed at him. Yeah.
Oh, man. So what do you think was the missing ingredient in WCW? Some say it was a filter. Like
I'll tell you exactly what it was, bro. You could say, bro, here. It's not a secret why I was more successful at the WWE than any other place. Okay. Because bro, wrestling is 100% politics, 1000%. Okay. Bro, I never had to deal with that at WWE because Vince McMahon had my back. Vince made it clear. If you F with Vince Russo, you're effing with me. Vince made that absolutely clear. I didn't have that type of protection at WCW and TNA. So it was politics, bro, from all sides. I don't deal well in politics. I don't play well in politics. So without having the protection of a boss, I was not allowed to fully concentrate and do my job the way it needed to be done. I didn't have to worry about that working with Vince. That's the difference, in my opinion.
At the end of your run in WCW, Did you fight till the end, or did you just give up and put any old idea on TV? I asked.
No, I went home, bro. I mean, I went home. That's what
I
I
asked
did.
this because you made yourself WCW champion, and I figured that you were just throwing ideas out like.
No, bro. Bro. Again, that's something that always will get thrown out of proportion. Bro, I won the WCW title by almost getting killed by Goldberg by being driven through a cage. The very next show, I relinquished the title. That's what we're talking about here. Right. And people are still talking about this 22 days after, when I won it on a Monday and the next day I gave up the title. Bro, as a writer, you've got to write stuff like that to open up the creative envelope. Because if something like that happens, Vince Russo gets speared through a cage and is now the champion. Bro, now you open yourself up creatively. If you don't do stuff like that, you're going to repeat the same wrestling shit over and over. And that's what you're getting now. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Everything on the WWE, every angle is this person's mad at that person, so we're going to wrestle. That's what every angle is. That's not how we wrote. We wrote based on stories. So you had to do Russo wins the title. You had to do the David Arquette stuff because that opens up the envelope where you can now write stories that they've never seen before. People don't understand that, bro, because they're not writers. They're not writing 2 shows every week. And bro, I'm not going to write a wrestling show where every single week wrestler A is mad at wrestler B, so they're going to have a match. I'm not interested in doing that. I tell stories.
And nobody seemed to bat an eyelash that Vince McMahon also made himself champion.
Yeah, well, right.
just gonna throw that out there.
Well, let's talk about David Arquette as champion as well. I actually was watching a match recently with David Arquette. He's actually, I think, gotten better over the years being a wrestler and being involved in the sport. What are your thoughts of people that rank on you for having David Arquette be in the WCW?
Well, bro, again, people never want to hear the story. First of all, was not my idea. That idea was pitched to me, and it was pitched to me by Tony Schiavone. After we had the production meeting that day where Arquette was not going over and Arquette was not winning the belt, Tony hung around and he called me over and he said, "Hey, Vince, I want to shoot something past you. What about this?" And he pitched Arquette winning the title. And I was just like, Tony, I never even thought of that. Like, that idea was not even a thought in my head. So if I'm not thinking that way, that means the entire audience would not be thinking that way. And bro, here's the funny thing. So at that point, I call everybody back into the room. The Arn Andersons, the Eric Bischoffs, everybody back in the room. And I say, guys, this is what Tony pitched. I had never even considered it. Nobody would believe this. It's believable, bro, because he's beating Bischoff by a fluke. He's not pinning a wrestler. What do you guys think about this? And of course, bro, 100% everybody was on board. So I still say, bro, we did it. We were on the cover of USA Today the following morning. We had Kevin Costner, Courtney Cox, Kurt Russell, the hottest actors at the time, doing free promos with the WCW title. We needed a publicity stunt. So I would 1 billion% do the same thing again today. I don't regret that for a second. I don't throw Tony under the bus for suggesting it. I thank Tony for suggesting that to me because we wound up using it. And to me, it worked exactly how we wanted it to work.
When you went to Impact TNA, Total Nonstop Action, were you right away into the writing, or were you just a character? Because I remember you on the Sports Entertainment Extreme group that you had.
Bro, that was a very, 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 very tough situation because Jeff Jarrett was a good friend of mine. Jerry Jarrett was his father. There was always a history of Jeff and Jerry not really getting along. Jeff made it clear to me he wanted me to write the show. Okay. But I knew Jerry wanted to write the show. So I tried to be respectful and let Jerry write the show. But again, bro, like, Jerry's writing, Memphis wrestling. And it's,
the same kind of thing like Jim Cornette.
Exactly, bro. And like, that's not what Jeff wanted.
Right.
So it just put me in a very, very difficult spot, bro, because I felt like I was in the middle of father son. Then Jerry did something that really, really pissed Jeff off. And that's when Jerry left the company and I more or less worked on the creative with Jeff.
So, something I need to harken back to that promo he cut at Bash at the Beach. One thing that he was very responsible for that everybody seems to conveniently forget is you name dropped a guy that deserved to be a champion and went on to be a great champion. You said guys like Booker T need to be in the spotlight. You gave Jeff Jarrett a title run, which he deserved. I don't care what anybody says about Jeff. He was world champion material.
Yep.
Vince put him in a mid card. Vince put him in a goofy, I'm a singing cowboy, type situation. But going to WCW after he'd done that whole don't piss me off gimmick, went over to WCW, which ironically, as I remember as a fan, he went out 2 or 3 different times and started the same way. I've got something to say. Each time he switched companies, I've got something to say. I'm a big fan of Jeff Jarrett.
Me too.
I don't appreciate, the legend holdup, but that's between him and Vince. But you gave a lot of guys opportunities, and I don't think you get credited with that enough.
Well, bro, because again, you got a lot of these marks that want to be part of the business and really think they are, and they don't have a clue, bro, because there's so many things that come into play. Like, bro, when I made the decision to put the title on Jeff, okay, I made that decision for a couple of reasons, and I'll tell you exactly what they were. First of all, Jeff's a great wrestler. Okay. And as a heel, Jeff's going to make baby faces. Okay. Without a shadow of a doubt. Bro, very, very important was, bro, Jeff never got hurt. Never got hurt. So the guy was very dependable. So I needed a good wrestler. He never got hurt and he was going to get heels over. People don't understand that. Like when, the Meltzers and all these people, bro, they don't have a clue to what you're really looking for and what it takes in putting a television show together. They don't have a clue, man.
I 100% agree with you. For a long time, I was one of those marks. Talking to you guys has opened my eyes to a lot of different things. But even as a fan of wrestling, I thought putting the belt on Jeff Jarrett was smart. I thought putting it on Booker T was smart. Even Scott Steiner putting it on Big Papa Pump was a great idea. It was just too bad that Scott got a little too big before going to Vince. A couple of years later, and he just kind of lost that edge. Yeah, Scott Steiner.
Well, I heard when Scott Steiner went to WWE, Triple H held him back a lot.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I love Scott Steiner to death, and I always had a great relationship with Scott. Bro, Scott's not going to kiss anybody's ass.
No.
And that's a lot of the business, bro. That's a lot. You got to sell your soul to the devil. Scott's not that guy, bro. Scott's not going to kiss your ass. And unfortunately, at the WWE, bro, if you don't kiss the right asses, you're going to have issues. So, I mean, that was absolutely no surprise to me.
Before we get into the next part, what do you think the greatest swerve you ever came up with was?
Oh man, see, I would say Arquette, but it wasn't my swerve. I would say probably Rock joining the corporation. I don't think anybody saw that coming, bro. Anybody.
Now, was that because The Rock was being booed and all that stuff, and they were die Rocky die, and then
that was the Nation.
That was the,
not at all, bro. That we just thought that was a really, really good storyline. Right. It had nothing to do with any of that. We just thought it was a solid storyline.
Did you have anything? Were you actually writing when Rocky turned and went to the Nation?
I was on the cusp, but I was not actually head writer. No.
And as John mentioned earlier, me being a Marty fan, can you validate or have any insight on the truth of the matter about Sean making the New Rockers a parody? Were you there for that?
When was that? Tell me more about it, bro. Just refresh my memory.
Leaf Cassidy.
Yeah, Al Snow teamed up with Marty. They came out as the New Rockers, and the going theme is that people believe Sean went to Vince and said, you should just make him a parody versus a legit tag team.
You know what, bro? I've never heard that before. And I mean, I would not believe that is true, but I honestly don't know.
How many years did you write for TNA?
Bro, I was there for 10 years, but I went in and out a couple of times. But I mean, I was there from the second show until 2012.
And back to when you talking about Kurt Angle, I thought TNA had the best matches when it was Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe, Kurt Angle, AJ Styles. I mean, could we talk a little bit more about that? Is there anything that needs to be said about?
No, Kurt's the best, bro. I mean, he's the absolute best, man. I loved working with that guy for so long at TNA, man. I mean, Kurt Angle and whoever is not going to be a bad match.
What do you think the best match in TNA history with Kurt Angle was?
Oh man, bro,
or a couple. You can pick a couple.
Yeah, it's hard to say because there were a lot. He even had some great matches with Jeff.
Were you with the company when Jeff Hardy came out so inebriated he couldn't wrestle?
Yeah.
What was that like backstage?
Bro, it was bad because, again, people don't realize, bro, Jeff was not in the locker room with everybody else. He dressed in like a separate place, and it was a ways away. Like you had to walk to go talk to Jeff. So he had been in that room all day. We had no idea he was in this type of condition until he came out for the match. Like we had literally no idea whatsoever because, he was in a room to himself for a long part of the day. So when we saw that, I mean, my gosh, I give Eric credit here because Eric really had to act on the spot and called an audible. Everybody says, oh, how'd you let him go out that way? Bro, nobody knew. We didn't know. He walked right through gorilla position to the ring, and then we realized, holy crap, bro, we need to do something.
All right, so now we got some fan questions. Some may be controversial, some maybe not. I chose, there was a lot of, like you said, March, who just kept repeating the whole Jim Cornette lines. I tried to get those out of there. So, but our first question comes from, I believe it's pronounced Michael, and his last name is spelled funny, but I believe it's O'Reilly. If it was WrestleMania main event, fatal four-way, Cornette, Pritchard, Heyman, and you, each of you have a wrestler to fight for them. Who would your wrestler be, and how would you book it?
Oh, God, bro, how do they think I'd book it? I'd book it with my wrestler going over. I mean, how do you think I'd book it? With me getting my ass kicked? I mean, honestly. But, bro, I'm going to go back to Kurt. I would probably book Kurt. I would probably book Kurt as my wrestler because I know legitimately as a shoot, Kurt would be able to twist anybody up. So I would pick Kurt in his prime.
I'd love to see you on the Kurt Angle show. I would love for you to be on an interview in there. I hope you guys can make it happen sometime because now he's doing interviews on there.
Does he still do the Conrad show?
Yeah, that's what it is. It's with Conrad, and now Kurt every couple of weeks he does an interview with somebody.
Oh, I'd love to do that, man.
I think this one was meant to be funny. Chris from New Jersey asked, "Who better than Canyon?"
Bro, I loved Chris Canyon, man. Chris
was one of my favorites.
One of my favorites, bro. What a great dude, man. Definitely one of my favorites.
So a
man.
resounding nobody.
Nobody. Yeah, he was the best. Kurt, he was the best, man.
John from Connecticut asks, what are your thoughts on the Brawl for All now? Like, do you regret going through with it?
Oh, bro, the only thing I regret, and I don't really regret it because we didn't know back then. Bro, if we would have known about head trauma back then like we know now, I would have never, ever, ever done that. But we didn't know about that back then. I mean, we didn't find out about CTR and all that stuff. We didn't find out about that till years and years later. But today, knowing what we know about head trauma, I would never, ever do that again.
All right. Ryan Gordon asked, were you really a Vince McMahon spy in WCW and trying to take them down for Vince McMahon?
Bro, I wish I could say yes, because it would make a great, great, great story. I mean, I really, really
storyline ever.
Yeah, it would. I wish I could say
it was
that.
him all along.
Yeah, but no.
Actually,
people don't understand because, again, bro, people believe what they want. Like, even a question like that, bro, when me and Ed Ferrara were writing for the first 3 months in WCW and we were tearing down the foundation and we were building a new one, bro, the numbers were up. The numbers were up at WCW for the first 3 months we were there. Anybody can go and look. And then because of politics, I went home for, was it 3 months or 6? I don't remember. I went home for 3 months. And when they brought me back, I knew it was too little, too late. But if anybody wants to look up the numbers, you will see that the ratings were actually up the first 3 months we were there.
All right. So Sonny from Tokyo asked, were you fully intent of getting rid of international talent and not using Mexican and Japanese wrestlers?
Bro, I don't get rid of anybody. It's not my company. So like, I'm not in a position at any company to get rid of anybody. That's whoever they tell me the roster is, that's who I'm writing for. What I said again, bro, that everybody wants to blow out of proportion. What I said was foreign speaking wrestlers are harder to get over than American speaking wrestlers for two reasons. Number one, there is a language barrier. That's number one. And number two, when now there's a language barrier on top of that, you're now going to wear a mask where you can't see emotion. That was my point, that it was a lot harder to get non-English speaking wrestlers over. And of course, everybody turned that into Vince Russo is a racist. Whatever, bro, whatever. When communication with the audience is the most important thing in professional wrestling. Right. And when there is a language barrier, that is very difficult to overcome.
Well, that Sonny from Tokyo was Sonny Ono.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
Well, Sonny was one of those guys that twisted that out of proportion. I still say that to this day, bro.
It's funny because Sonny said that himself.
Yeah, I mean, bro, that's a fact. That's got nothing to do with how I felt about these guys. I am telling you, as a writer, when you spoke another language outside of American, it was an uphill battle. That's I'm just telling you as a writer how it was.
Eddie Genetti from Springfield asks, Seven/Dustin Rhodes came out and said the character of Seven was stupid and his microphone was cut off. Was that a work or a shoot or a work shoot?
No, that was a work shoot. And bro, that's another thing. That character got killed by standards and practices. That character did not get killed by Vince Russo. Dustin and Dusty developed that character before I even got there. And then they did some vignettes. Remember, there was like a little kid involved. Remember, like he was in a kid's bedroom or something. That was before I got there. And by the time I got there, standards and practices didn't want the character because kids were going to be afraid of the character. So they actually put the kibosh on that character, not me.
Wasn't that kind of the point? It worked for the Undertaker.
I mean, look at we got Vampiro, Undertaker, Sting even has a scary kind of outfit.
Yeah, you know what, bro? Maybe it really was because I remember he was in a kid's bedroom or something like that. Maybe it was the way they shot that, but that was definitely standards and practices.
He kind of looked like Uncle Fester from
He
Family.
did a little bit.
Yeah.
He did, yeah.
The Family.
All right, so Joe W. Nelson asks, who's the guy that hired you in WCW, and why couldn't you and Bischoff get along?
The guy that actually hired me, I would say, bro, it was probably my boss was Bill Bush, but his boss was Brad Siegel. And I would say Brad probably had a little bit more to do with it than Bill Bush. Bro, Eric Bischoff and I never get along, do not get along to this day because, bro, we're two different animals. Eric likes power. Eric likes the corner office. Eric likes people fearing him. Eric likes intimidation. Bro, I'm the guy. I'm a blue collar worker. I'm going to get in the ditch. I'm going to get my hands dirty. I'm going to do whatever I have to do for the show to be the best it can. I don't believe in politics. I don't believe in stepping on people to get ahead. We're two totally different animals, bro, that not his fault, not my fault. We are just two people that will never get along.
Now again with Eric Bischoff, we already asked this about Jim Cornette. Do you think Eric would be more willing to be on a same podcast with you than Jim Cornette?
Well, he has said he would never do that, which I don't understand. Like, both of these guys have so much to say about me, but will not say it to me, which is very hard for me to understand. If you want to say something to me, say it to me. And I've said the same thing with Eric that I said to Jim. Bro, anytime you want to do a podcast, anytime you want to have a conversation, I am here. I am available. But he has stated many times that he would never, ever, ever even have a conversation.
All right. Alex from Germany asked, what happened to Berlin?
Oh my God, that's Alex. Is that a joke or is that really him? Is that him?
It's him.
Bro, I don't know what happened with Berlin. Listen, man, I'll be honest with you. I thought Berlin was like a good character. I really do. And I was a fan of Alex Wright. Bro, a lot of people don't understand because they don't understand positions and how positions work. Bro, a lot of times, all of the time, when it came down to dollars and cents and money and contract, bro, I was not involved. I had nothing to do with any of that stuff. Bro, I remember once Dixie Carter's mother, Janice, she asked me one time because they were looking to cut budget. And she asked me one time, Vince, can you write a show without Sting? And my answer was, I can write a show without anybody. Like, you give me the roster. If these are the people on the roster, I can write a show. So like, I never got involved with contracts, somebody wanting more money, them wanting to cut somebody because of budget. I never got involved in that stuff because I will write a show with whoever you give me to write a show with. So I really don't know what happened with Alex Wright and Berlin. I liked the character. I mean, I never had an issue with the character. I can't tell you what happened contract-wise, money-wise. That wasn't my department.
Yeah, we had Alex on the show a few weeks back, and I had rewatched that clip I was talking about with Gene Okerlund. All right, what I was talking about, he ruins the whole shtick by going, we know you've wrestled here before. We know you can speak English. Cut it out, and walks away. Now, was that like a work? Was that a shoot? Was that a work shoot?
Are you sure? Are you sure I was even there for that?
I don't know. That's why.
Because, bro, I don't even remember that.
Were you there the whole time for Berlin? Because he didn't.
Not the whole time. Not the whole time. He was there before I got there. When I went there was already a Berlin there. Berlin was already there.
He was already as Berlin.
Yeah, he was already in the character. So I honestly don't know, bro.
All right. So before we get to the last segment, I wanted to ask you, do you watch the current product now? Like,
I only watch Raw because I get paid to watch Raw. That's the only show I watch because I get paid to watch it.
do you don't watch AEW at all?
Nope.
You don't even look at
I
it?
watched AEW, guys, from the very first show in October of 2019 to January of 2021. So that's a good sample. I watched every show for about 14 months. And then I turned 60 and I basically said, I am not wasting another hour of my time watching this. It's not for me, bro. Bro, it's not professional wrestling. If you want to call it performance art, call it whatever you want. I am a fan of professional wrestling. And what I saw for 14 months, to me, was not professional wrestling. That's why I wasn't a fan of it.
So
But I'm not a fan of the WWE's product by any means today.
Well, what do you see when you watch AEW? Just a spot fest?
I see guys flipping all over the place.
Right.
And then
not selling.
Wrestling. No, that's not wrestling.
Right,
Bro, there were three things that made wrestling great. I'll tell you exactly what they were. And none of them exist today. Characters, storyline, and ring psychology. Those are the three things. You need every one of those things. I watch AEW. There's none of those things. None of them exist. So to me, that is not professional wrestling. And that is why I have no interest in watching the show. Now, is there an audience out there that thinks it's great? Yeah, okay, fine, bro. Watch it. I'm just talking about the wrestling I grew up on and watched for decades and decades and decades was not this.
What do you I've watched it the whole time. I have not stopped watching it. I do believe in the last few months since they got CM Punk, it has improved and gotten better. CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, and like Malachi Black
which solidifies my real acronym for AEW, all ex WWE.
Right.
So, but I really do think it's gotten better. I think there's a little bit of everything for everybody, any kind of wrestling fan there, because there is some wrestling going on. Yes, there's a lot of high spots, but matches like the other day, Bryan Danielson fought Minoru Suzuki, and that was the most amazing thing I've seen in a long time. Maybe you want to give that a try. That was on YouTube.
Bro, I don't watch wrestling matches. Don't get me excited. They're fake, bro. They're fake. They're not wrestling for real. Right. I'm not a fan of the matches. They're not real. The outcome is written and predetermined. So like, bro, maybe it's because like I'm a New Yorker and I don't have patience, but there's two things. First of all, bro, when I know it's a work and the outcome is predetermined, I don't need to watch it for 20 minutes. I don't need, this is not real. Second of all, bro, what haven't I seen done in an AEW ring that I'm going to see now? Bro, I had not watched for 19 months. You guys know who R.D. Reynolds is? R.D. Reynolds wrote The Death of WCW.
Yep.
Him and I do a show together. Yep. R.D. said, Vince, do me a favor. I want you to watch the Arthur Ashe show. Arthur Ashe Stadium. Okay. Bro, out of my friendship with RD, I had not watched since January. Mm-hmm. I watched Arthur Ashe. I saw nothing different. I saw the exact same thing that I saw when I stopped watching in January. Bro, listen, I'm sorry. I say this all the time. Bro, if I were to run an AEW developmental territory, here's the first thing I would do, bro. Here's the first thing I would do. Okay, I want everybody to line up across the ring. Okay, all 12 of you line up across the ring. Okay, now I'm going to have your opponent kick you in the head as hard as they possibly can. You're going to have your hands at your waist, and they're going to kick you in the head. And I'm going to have a stopwatch. And I'm going to see how long it takes you guys to get up. Bro, I'm sorry. When guys are getting kicked in the head 12 times a show and they're kicking out at 2, it is unbelievable to me. Bro, I still look at wrestling and this is how I wrote it. If this shit were real, how would this happen? That's how I wrote wrestling. If this were real, what would happen? And bro, nobody's getting kicked in the head and kicking out at 2. Nobody's getting a pile driver from the second rope and kicking out at 2.
Right.
It's fake, phony bullshit, bro. And like I said, there's an audience for it. If people enjoy that, great, watch it. But the mass audience does not like that. And that's why wrestling has gone from 10 million fans on a Monday night to 2 million fans watching SmackDown. That's what has happened.
You sort of have the same issue that Jim Cornette has with it.
Absolutely.
Like you guys are on the same page about that.
Bro, listen, I'm a baseball fan. I've been a baseball fan my whole life. If all of a sudden next season they change the rules, and it's not baseball to me anymore, I probably would stop watching it.
Right. You know, if you did have a developmental, if they did made a developmental thing for AEW, you know who I think would be a really good trainer? Barry Horowitz. We actually had him here as a guest.
I'm sure Barry Horowitz was great, bro. Absolutely. But Barry, how about Steve Lombardi?
Steve Lombardi, Barry Horowitz, even Dwayne Gill was good.
Absolutely.
You really needed these enhancement talents in order to get these guys over.
Yep.
Marty Jannetty.
I say that bro, I say that all the time. Like it blows my mind. Like, is Steve Lombardi not in the Hall of Fame because of his 1-loss record? Like, are you freaking kidding me, bro? All the matches this guy had, all the matches this guy made.
All the years he put in.
Huh?
All the years he put in.
And then you want me to take that seriously? Come on, bro. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, what did Barry say? Like, who did he say reference was in the Hall of Fame and he's not?
Yeah. Drew Carey's in the Hall of Fame, but he's not.
Yeah. Drew Carey. Right.
I didn't even realize Barry. Barry Horowitz is in that Steve Lombardi category. Like, are you freaking kidding me, bro? You know how many guys these guys made and got over? That's such a huge part of the business, man.
Right. You always need a winner and a loser. So with that being said, if Vince McMahon called you tomorrow and said, Vince, you want to be in the Hall of Fame? You'd say no?
Yeah, no, bro. Listen, I don't need Vince McMahon's acknowledgement to be somebody. That's what the Hall of Fame is all about. Because let's be honest. At the end of the day, Vince McMahon decides who's in and who's out. It's not a fan vote. It's not a vote within the boys. It comes down to Vince McMahon. And like, I'm sorry, bro. I need the acknowledgement of my kids. I need the acknowledgement of my wife, my dad. I don't need the acknowledgement of Vince McMahon in order for me to be somebody. And bro, I knew a lot of the greats like, Ivan Koloff and, King Kong Bundy. I mean, bro, come on. The fact that guys like that aren't in there for whatever heat they had with Vince. I mean, come on, man. That's who? Demolition. Absolutely, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely. I would love to have both of those guys on the show.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Barry Darso, except the Repo Man. That was awful.
Yeah. I love Demolition. They were great, man.
Well, we do a segment called Rapid Fire Smash, and you could answer the question however you want, as quick as you want, as whatever. So some of these things are like really ridiculous. So what's your favorite pizza for Vince Russo?
Before you tell us what your favorite pizza is, let me tell you about our favorite pizza down at Gio's in Hamden, Mass. What awesome food they have down there. I have gone down there and eaten the Meat Lovers pizza. You can order it by the slice. I had some wings. I got the mild ones because I was not in the mood for spicy, but trust and believe, I can handle some spice. Johnny, have you ever had their spicy wings?
I love their spicy wings. The wings that they have, the flavors they have, the meatiness of the wings. I always end up getting them extra crispy because I like the crispness of the skin of the wings. That makes me hungry just talking about it.
I'm getting hungry too.
But you know, I have to tell you now, for our listeners only, if our listeners go to Gio's Pizzeria in Hamden, Massachusetts, they will get half off a slice of pizza by giving them the word smash. You tell them at the counter the word smash, and you'll get half off a slice of pizza.
That's wow, 50%. That's generous, man. That's at 9 Allen Street in Hamden, Massachusetts. Give them a call, see what's going on over there, see if it's a busy time. You go get your slice of pizza, 413-566-8015. Tell them we sent you, get yourself 50% off. Also, if you're in the mood for delivery, they will deliver to the surrounding areas. So go ahead, give Gio's a call, 413-566-8015. Go visit them at 9 Allen Street, Hamden, Massachusetts. So as we were saying, what is your favorite pizza?
I mean, I would definitely say New York style from New York.
Told you.
Well, what would you like on it?
I'm a sausage guy.
Sausage? Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I love sausage.
Yeah.
Does pineapple belong on pizza?
I wouldn't get it, bro, but I don't mind other people getting it.
Favorite wrestling theme music that you've heard? Like, what were your favorites that you thought?
I always like, bro, like I always like DX's theme. I think that was like part of, I think that was one of my favorite ones.
Who are your best friends in the wrestling business now?
I mean, bro, there are no best friends in the wrestling business. That's a sham. No.
I get this a lot, actually. This is what Barry Horowitz said. What did he say?
If you want a best friend in the business, get a dog.
Get a dog.
Exactly. He's exactly right. But if I had to name one, and bro, and it's no surprise why, because this is like, bro, when I say this guy like did not have a political bone in his body, I may have known maybe 3 people like that. Everybody else. Disco is probably one of my best friends in the business to this day, but it's no surprise why, bro. This guy did not have a political bone in his body, man.
No.
Stevie Richards, I'm very tight with. I love Stevie, man. Stevie's a great dude. I would say probably those 2 guys.
Oh, reach out to him for us.
Yeah, we're trying to get some guests here.
Yes. I mean, you guys know I got a network with like 15, 20 guys and gals.
Yeah, we'll definitely.
Well, I'll email you and ask you, talk to you about that. If you were on a deserted island with Jim Cornette, Paul Heyman, and JBL, who would survive and why? It's a smart ass question. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Well, I mean, I would say JBL because he'd be able to beat the shit out of everybody if they got on his nerves. I would say JBL.
Yeah.
All right. So who wins, JBL or Haku?
Haku.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Did you meet him in WCW?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. We hear a lot of notorious stories. We want to get him on the show at some point.
I heard he's funny, but you also don't want to piss him off.
Yeah, yes.
I just kept hearing that.
Hey, where can we see more Vince Russo or hear more Vince Russo? Do you still have a podcast?
Yeah, no, bro. I have too many podcasts, bro. I
was on earlier looking for you again because I used to listen to you all the time, honestly, and I couldn't find you. The last episode you had was like August on the brand.
Yeah, no, bro. We my site has literally been down for the last 3 months because we built a brand new site from the ground up. We were having problems with hacking. We were having we were having a lot of issues. So I wanted to build a unique site from the floor up. It took about 3 months, but we're done. So if people want to sign up for the brand, all they have to do is go to russosbrand.com. And like I said, bro, we've got so many wrestlers with their own shows, Disco, Stevie Richards. I just signed Al Snow, Stevie Ray from Harlem Heat, The Beautiful People, ODB, Shane Douglas. Just Incredible, Dick, I'm sorry, Dutch Mantel, Kevin Sullivan. There are so many people I forget, and we're constantly adding new people. So I would just go to russosbrand.com. You can see all the shows we have on there.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Mr. Russo here?
No, I think we've covered all the bases. Very insightful, and I'm glad that you didn't, get pissed off at some of these questions, because I don't know if I could have contained myself in your predicament.
Bro, I swear, I don't get pissed off at anyone. Like, bro, like I don't like stupid questions. And, like I said, part of the frustration is, bro, listen, I have no skeletons in my closet. Trust me, if there were skeletons in my closet, they would have come out. I am a very honest, wear my emotion on my sleeve type of guy. When you ask me something, I'm going to tell you the truth. The frustration is when somebody asks you something and you tell them the truth, but they don't believe you because they want to believe it happened another way. That's the frustration. There's nothing I'm ever afraid to talk about. Nothing is off limits. And my whole life, my whole career in the business, I was always honest. And that probably hurt me. That probably hurt me, being honest, not being a politician. That's probably why I'm on the outside looking in, which I'm totally happy with. But yeah, bro, I don't shy away from anything because I'm just going to tell you the truth.
All right. There we have it. Mr. Russo.
Thanks for coming on the show. It's been a blast, man. It's been a real treat.
We very much appreciate this.
Oh, no problem, guys. And yeah, bro, if you need help with talent or anything, I mean, like I said, I literally have 20, 25 people that I work with every week.
All right. We'll definitely keep in touch for that, because, we like to bring everybody's stories.
Yeah.
Because there's people that they haven't gotten to share their story. We want to give them the opportunity. That's what I'm trying to do now too with the brand, man. I'm trying to bring people, like a lot of people tend to do podcasts, but there's a lot of people you never hear from that are funny, great storytellers. I'm looking to bring more of those people in too. So, Johnny O, why don't you hit him with the deets of our next guest?
Well, since we started this podcast, one of the main people that we've been trying to get, and we got him, but then he didn't finish the interview. One of the guys from day one, right in the beginning of the show, when I said the biggest mark for this guy. So here, ladies and gentlemen, next time on Double Axe Handle Smash, we are finally going to have the promised interview with Marty Jannetty. Boy, howdy, was that one heck of a barn burner interview. Ed, would you like to elaborate on maybe the Marty-isms here?
All I'm going to say is we're going to party with Marty, and it's just Marty being Marty. And that was the fun of it.
We had to take this in 2 episodes. They're 6 months apart. So we were waiting for the second half of this, and he finally gave it to us. The only thing we don't have on this episode is a rapid fire smash because he had to go very abruptly, and we're going to leave that in there. And it's going to be very fun next time.
Don't bring your kids.
Yeah, don't have your kids listen to this one. This is going to be probably a rated R conversation.
So we'll catch you next time on Double Axe Handle Smash Podcast.